Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast. Ozcast. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Maria.
Good morning.
How are you, Maria?
I'm good on a cool morning.
It is cool, but do you have any trouble sleeping?
Sometimes, yes.
Can you pinpoint why? Is it because something is on your mind, or?
There's lots on my mind, Jeremy.
I know that.
And I want to fix the world problems.
Well, it's time somebody did.
Yeah, because the fools are just doing the same old. As I told you last week, we have to draw a line under what we've done, which hasn't fixed anything, and we need to start afresh. So that's why I can't sleep sometimes.
Yeah. Well, you can't take the problems of the world on your shoulders and then compound the felony by taking them all to bed.
Maria, Albert Einstein said, you can't fix the problems the way that you created them.
No, exactly right, Les.
That sounds good, but what does it mean?
Well, it means we need a new generation of thinking.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, and sometimes to be a little bit different, instead of following all the things that haven't been improved, spending always more money, more revenue, more.
Oh, yes.
Instead of changing it to be less, and I've told you once before, taking all the sugar off the table, starting again, everyone has to contribute. Everybody has to pay tax. There's no not-for-profit. We see with the AFL the other week, we were talking about charities, Jeremy.
Yep.
Paying a celebrity $20 million to perform a couple of songs, and they have not-for-profit status. I'm sorry, the Australian tax.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast. Ozcast. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Payers want the AFL. It is a business to pay tax.
Yeah, it's fairly straightforward, isn't it?
Yeah, very straightforward. We could live in utopia if the fools didn't follow the same trail, and we as the sheep, we've got to do something different. Jeremy Left and others, I've been hearing that Hezbollah, Hamas and Houthi propaganda bags are being filled by Adam Bant and Sarah Hanson-Young. They've been really busy over the last few days packing these bags to hand out at the protests for the supporters of terrorism.
I can't see what's in it for the Greens to behave like that.
I don't know why anybody would vote for the Greens. Please, all of you listening, do not vote for the Greens because they are the most dangerous political party on the face of the earth.
Well, apart from that, Maria, the thing that's happening on Sunday and on Monday, tragically I say on Monday because that is the anniversary of the terrorist invasion of Israel and the massacre of 1,200 Jews. Now, it is absolutely appalling that these people are being allowed to celebrate. That's what they're doing. They're not commemorating, they're celebrating the event on such a day. And apparently there is no law against it. They're going to be doing it in Melbourne, they're going to be doing it in Sydney, and they're going to be doing it in Adelaide. It is an appalling thing that they're doing.
Yes, it is. But the contents of this propaganda bag, there's free SIM cards, a mobile phone, a pager, a burqa, the hijab, cover over, the 2-day hire of a crane voucher.
Who told you this, Maria?
I'll just finish off this. The voucher for 5 litres of fuel and tickets one way to Gaza, Lebanon and Iran. Don't get me wrong, both sides have done wrong, one out of hatred and elimination and the other to protect itself.
So you're making this up just for a bit of fun, aren't you?
Yes, yeah. I am. Hey, we might be able to do it though. Question. Why are these people, they say that they are protesting for the war, but I don't see any signs of them condemning hospitals, schools, apartment blocks, using them as their storage facilities for missiles, weapons, and using their people as human shields. Yeah. Added to that bag, do we have a dealership donating a vehicle of choice, the Toyota Land Cruiser, for their dirty terrorist deeds?
Maria, can I make just a couple of comments? The first one regarding protests. Earlier this year, Mark Dreyfus, our Attorney General, put out a press release saying that the banning of the Nazi Haken Cruise, which is the Nazi swastika and associated gestures, and pardon me,
are you all right? Have a cough.
We've all got things here.
Yeah, look, it's the season.
Confirmed by my local member of Boothby, Louise Miller-Frost, that includes any symbols of terror, which for 12 months now, since the anniversary, which is Monday of the 1,200 people perishing in Israel, that atrocity. For 12 months, people have been protesting around the planet and in Australia using the Hezbollah and Hamas flag. It's illegal, according to the Australian government, and for 12 months the Australian government has been allowing it. So that's one comment. The other comment is it's been referred to the Green Party as being, the Greens, being the watermelon party. That is, they're green on the outside, but they're red on the inside. They're no longer the environmental party, Maria. They are a party of incredible ideologies which are quite foreign to our way of life here in this country.
They're activists.
Yeah. They've never been environmentalists as such. It was just a bit of a cover, you know.
Back in the Bob Brown days, they were pretty much involved in, keeping the forests alive and the rivers clean.
They were the tree huggers back then. That's
I'm all for hugging a tree.
Yeah. But the right sort of tree, you know, we'll use that one for another day. But truly, these people, like you say, have an ideology that they want to destroy what we have. And we could, if we draw a line under what hasn't worked and start afresh, we could live in utopia. And truly, people, you know, both sides haven't done well. But we could do something much, much better, much, much easier. One more comment or a couple of more comments, Jeremy. Last week, one of your guests called Ukraine a shitty little country. Well, I disagree. I stand with Ukraine for their strength, their loyalty, their courage and their love of country, which the young ones of Australia do not have. And and ditto the same for Israel. I agree with what they are doing because they are protecting themselves. And if they haven't been doing what they've been doing to eliminate some of the hostilities and hatred, and as I pointed out to you, hospitals, schools and apartment blocks are being used as storage facilities for their dirty business.
Yeah, they use the people as shields. That's one of their tactics.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast. Ozcast. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
They've done it for years.
And Maria, you used the word utopia. There's probably the opposite end of the scale is the word terror. And these organisations live off terror.
Yes, terror.
And, that is now infiltrating into the Australian way of life, unfortunately. We've already had terror instances here in Australia, and there's potentially likely to be more. And if people recall Heinrich Himmler, who was part of the German Nazi Party, one of the comments he made is that terror is one of the best political weapons. Yes. Think about it.
And these people that are protesting, they're just like sheep. They don't know their history. You know, they just follow one another without knowledge of history. It just is so sad when you see the films of the explosions of these missiles. It's not just a residential home. You see the great big cloud of all gunpowder and all shrapnel and everything. You know, they don't have a brain, I'm sure, because if they put two and two together, they would come up and see what we see. And as you say, Les, we have brought in a big problem to Australia, and it's not going to end if we are weak as we are.
The other thing that is that overlays on all of us around the planet is this the critical race thinking, which is now transformed into the word woke. I went to a presentation by Kevin Donnelly last night. We had Kevin Donnelly on the program here at the dining room table a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, he was great.
He is excellent, but we now know through what he's told us that there's been generations of the public and particularly children being conditioned to think in a certain way. And he was asked a question last night by a colleague of mine, because the colleague of mine has a 42-year-old daughter. She's trained in environmental sciences, so there's already a mindset there. And he said, well, what can I do about it? And he said, well, there's no easy solution to it. And I think this what we're going through now is not going to be in one generation or even a handful of generations. Is going to take quite some time, because the kids who have gone through this programming since probably the 70s, when there was the cultural or counterculture revolution, as I called it, the hippie days, anti-Vietnam moratoriums and protests, we're going through this now other counterculture period, and it's just going to take a long, long time for parents to get re-involved with their kids, find out what the curriculum is teaching them, and if you don't agree with that curriculum, you've got to take your kids into other education facilities where you do agree with the curriculum. But of course, in the public schools, that's a different environment, because that's directly controlled by the government. You've got a lot more chance if you take your kids to a denominational religious school. And the interesting question would have been last night, and we didn't get around to it, but I would have liked to have asked Kevin Donnelly, is all this crap being taught in Islamic schools? And I bet my bottom dollar it's not.
I could guarantee you, and I'd win the bet, that it isn't. They have a different agenda. They are teaching other sort of indoctrinations where, bringing on the hatred of centuries and centuries. And that's why I say the fools can't see what they've done. With these people that we're bringing back from Lebanon, I'm sorry, if you've been living there more than 6 months, no, you find your own way back to Australia because you're not loyal to Australia.
Now, you bring up an interesting point, Maria. Can anyone explain to me why there are 25,000 Australians, presumably with Australian passports, they're Australians. What are they doing living in Lebanon? Is it that they...
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Come to Australia, they get dual citizenship, they take Australian citizenship but keep their Lebanese citizenship, and then get on the pension and then go back and live where they can maybe do better on the pension in Lebanon.
Yes, you've hit the nail right on the head. See, there's the sugar again. Take the sugar off the table if you want a pension, and if you want to be a loyal Australian, you live in Australia.
Yes.
You can go back to your home country for a holiday, but any more than 6 months, ding dong, the sugar's gone.
Yep. Look, what you say. Yep, what you say makes a lot of sense, Maria, and I thank you for saying it.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.